you want to learn how to speak to motivated sellers with passion and enthusiasm and learn how to actually create leads when you're speaking to these sellers, if that's you, watch this video. If you're using cold calling as a way to generate leads for wholesaling houses, then you have got to be able to grab your seller's attention quick when they get on the phone with you. And if you don't grab their attention quick, they're going to hang the phone up on you and you're going to have to go on to the next one and go through the same thing. I absolutely hate getting hung up on by motivated sellers because I know that if I can get in front of them, if I can pique their interest, I know that I can convert them into a lead and then later on down the road into a contract, and then that contract into anywhere from $10,000 to $15,000. The script that you use when you're talking to sellers on the phone is the utmost importance when you're cold calling. Very generic. So there are a lot of different types of scripts. Don't get me wrong, a lot of them are good, but a lot of them are you're going to be sounding like every other wholesaler that is calling this homeowner. So I want you to think of this. Let's say you get a random phone call, right? And it's somebody who pretty much knows who you are. And right away, this person, they know your name. They're talking to you as if they've already spoken to you in the past. You're not going to hang up on them very quickly. You're going to stay on the phone for just a little bit to try to figure out how this person knows you. I like to use that concept when I'm talking about motivated seller scripts. And on top of that, a script is only as good as the person using it. So if you're talking to a motivated seller on the phone and you don't sound excited, you don't sound like you actually know what you're talking about, you're not going to get that lead. As a matter of fact, you're not going to get very far into the conversation with the seller before they hang up on you. Well, how do you want to sound when you're talking to a seller on the phone? No matter what script you decide to use, I 100% recommend speaking with enthusiasm. You're going to want to sound excited. Yeah, there are some sellers that are going through tough situations, and you hear a lot of gurus tell you need to match their tone. If they sound real low and down, they want you to sound the same way. I've been doing this for a long time, and that is not the way you do it. You always want to have an upbeat tone. You want to be enthusiastic. You want to sound as if you are excited about what you're talking about. If you don't, you're going to lose the seller's interest. If you're not enthusiastic and you're just talking with a robotic energy, you're going to lose a lot of motivation very quickly as you are in your cold calling campaign. So I recommend when you're cold calling to do it for about 2 to 3 hours at a time. Don't do it more than that because you will get burnt out pretty quickly. So just keep in mind, having a good positive energy while speaking is going to help you get through your 2 to 3 hours of cold calling and help you generate leads. Did you know before I owned my cold calling company, I would average 3 to 4 hours cold calling. And during that time period, I would generate literally 6 to 10 leads per campaign. When I say a campaign, I'm just talking about the time that I spent cold calling for that day. That's what I call a campaign. So again, if you have enthusiasm, if you know what you're talking about, you're going to be able to generate a lot of leads using a really good seller script. What script should you be using when you're talking to motivated sellers? So the script that I recommend using, it's called the follow-up script. Now the follow-up script is technically not an initial conversation script, but I like to use it as that. When I get on the phone with a seller and I greet them with their first name and I let them know, hey, I'm just doing some follow-ups, that seller has the mindset that, hey, maybe I have talked to this guy before. Maybe I shouldn't hang up on him like I've done the past 20 other investors that called me today. And I find that my sellers will sit there and listen to what I have to say, and I'll get hung up on a lot less than when I'm using this follow-up script. The follow-up script is a really good script, guys. If you go to my website, learnvirtualwholesaling.com, you can find an article I wrote on scripts, and you can actually get a copy of the motivated seller script, the follow-up script on that website. And as a matter of fact, I'll leave a link in the description where you can go and read that article and get your copy of the follow-up script. As a little bit of an extra, when you're talking to your sellers and you're going through the script, you're generating that interest, you're building that rapport, keep in mind that there are different scripts for different parts of your conversation. There's a building rapport script. There's a follow-up script, initial conversation script, which I call the follow-up script. There's the closing script. These scripts will essentially help you close deals in your business. You want to master these scripts to a point to where you don't need a script anymore when you're talking to your sellers. You want to get to a point to where you're so good at speaking to these sellers, the script comes natural. Obviously, when you first start cold calling and you first start lead generating, you're going to have a learning curve. It's not going to sound natural right away. It's going to take time. It's going to take repetition. That's why I recommend doing shadow training. That is just pretending you're speaking to a seller on the phone. Just practice your script 8 to 10 times a day. Get used to using it.